Hello, I'm Richard Claywell. This is another episode of Litigation Speaks. Today I want to talk to you about a question that I'm asked on a regular occasion that attorneys don't, I don't believe they really understand what the question is that they're asking, and they're not really sure how to solve the problem. So we're going to talk about lost profits and business valuations. How does that work? Because I had a call a couple of weeks ago, an attorney wanted to do a lost profits and a business valuation. Maybe not. So we're going to talk about that so the attorneys understand better how those two work in conjunction with each other. And we'll start off with some real world examples of what a lost profits is. A lost profits is just like it sounds. You have a business where there's been a harmful event to that particular company and you've lost out. You don't have the ability to generate the profits that you would have had. This can come from a breach of contract, interference, fraud, cyber attack, or whatever. When you do that particular type of analysis, it's called an ex post. It's E-X-P-O-S-T, ex post analysis. And that is after the event happens, we want to determine what those lost profits would have been. We have another one that's called the lost business value. And that's the total destruction of the company where the value is just basically gone. And you're determining the fair market value as of a specific date. So you want to stop on a date certain, and you really don't look forward to what's going on in the future. And that is in our standards that we do it that way, that we use ex ante for that. When we do that, the question becomes, and I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast, is there's a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that says that you can't use information beyond a valuation date. So if we do the valuation, we have to stop on a specific date. And if we're doing ex post, then we can actually go and see what the future would have been for the lost profits. So that's the difference between the two. The two numbers don't necessarily have to align. You would think that they would, but they don't. But the lost profits can exceed the value of the business. Sounds kind of strange, but it's not impossible. So what winds up happening is when we do this type of work, we have to look at what's actually going on with the two and determine which one is the most reliable methodology to use. So I want to talk to you about a couple of examples, actually three, on how lost profits work and how they can exceed the value of a company. So let's assume we have a company that's got a 3-year exclusive supply agreement, and the agreement is worth billings for $5 million. But at the last minute, the supplier backs out, i.e. we have breached contract. The company has a low overhead and no significant assets, but the value of the business is $1.5 million. The lost profits because of this one contract, because of the breach of contract, is $4 million. So in this case, the income stream was far more valuable than the enterprise itself. So the lost profits is going to be more valuable than the value of the particular company. Let's assume we have an early stage app developer. They have a minimal revenue and a business valuation of $800,000. That's based upon a discounted cash flow methodology. The company announces a partnership, and the plaintiff proves that it was blocked. And the plaintiff proved it was blocked from participating due to interference. They lost $2.5 million over an 18-month time period because of the interference. And the loss exceeded the value of the business because the app had not matured, but the income opportunity was real. So assume we have a professional medical practice. They're in business, they're doing their thing, meeting patients every day and all that sort of thing. But abruptly they were forced to close business due to cancellation of lease agreements. It had little resale value, no goodwill, no transferability, maybe worth $250,000, but based upon the historical profits that the company had over the last 2 years, would have been about $900,000. So even though the business valuation was low, the ongoing earning potential was significant. So how does this work this way? What's going on? The courts have upheld this particular logic. There's a case of Fishman versus the estate of Wirtz. The court awarded lost profits that exceeded the plaintiff's business value because the lost opportunity was unique and measurable. So those are the two things that we need to take a look at. If we can prove that they're unique and measurable, then you stand a pretty good chance of having a good case. The key is lost profits and lost business value are two different damage theories. They're both damages, but they have different theories behind them. And as long as they measure different time periods or different aspects of a loss, they can both be valid, and yes, lost profits can be larger. What matters is avoiding a double recovery and clearly defining whether your expert is measuring lost income, lost business value, or both. So if you're in a dispute and you're taking a look at this, you have contracts in front of you, and you say, this is too high of a number for the damages. It far exceeds the value of the company. And you're thinking, no, I don't think I really have a case here. Well, the answer is that may be your best argument, that you do have that higher value that's out there. So one of the things that you can do is do a side-by-side analysis, and if you need some help with that, we can help you with that. So it basically says, in rough numbers here, we're not talking about doing the entire engagement, just rough numbers. Here's ballpark what we think that those lost profits would be. Here's ballpark what we think that the lost business value would be. Which one exceeds? Now, typically, you would only want to do the lost business value if the company goes out of business. It's just really easy to prove that. But you might want to take a look at both of those and see what's going on with that. So hopefully this will help the attorneys understand a little bit better how lost profits and business valuations work. If you have any questions on this, feel free to contact me. Be more than glad to discuss the issue with you. We have additional podcasts that are out there. What we're trying to do is talk to the attorneys about the issues that we as experts typically do that may or may not be correct. So that's what I'm trying to do, is help attorneys better understand what's going on with this. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something from this, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye.